your slaves. Don't tread on us. You crossed the line. Soon you will pay. You're gonna pay for all your crimes. Don't tread on us.
Hey everyone, John Wilson here. In this upload I want to cover a fair bit of ground, if I may, with my Australian friends, and I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to put some context or join some dots about what we're all up against and what we're facing. Look, I think what we've got to understand here in Australia, that we are part of a global war. What we're up against here in Australia is not unique. It is a global war that's going down right throughout the world, and the forces at play here are very evil people. They're not just corrupt. They're not just power hungry, they're not just bent, but they are very, very evil people, and their plans for humanity are very evil stuff. I can't really explain it because I don't really understand just how evil these people can go, but the long and the short of it is that they plan to depopulate the earth. Now, we now know that. I don't think there's any argument amongst those people that have, done any sort of research and have been part of an ongoing discussion over the last year or two that now doubt that. That is now very clear to all of us. We now know that. Now, let's have a look at the some of the things that we do know. We do know that the United Nations is their instrument, and we do know that the United Nations has a game plan on quite a number of fronts. We know that attacking sovereignty is one front, and here in Australia that's really stands out. We no longer have a functioning constitution here in Australia, and we also no longer have a body politic at a federal, state or at a local level which in any way, shape or form is answerable to the people. They are all answerable to United Nations policies. They are in effect an administration for the UN, and we have no say in the matter. I think everyone in Australia, particularly in the alt side of things, those people in the discussions, really need to drop any sort of thought that we are dealing with a body politic that are answerable to us, and I think you're just wasting your time and wasting your breath and wasting everyone else's time as well when you project any notion that they are answerable to us. And I think my reading of the situation is that at a federal, state and local level, those people that are in the know, the political class in this country, they think it's a done deal. They believe it's a done deal. They believe that Australia is gone. It's going to be that it has been designated as a district or an area, and we are handed over basically to China, and they believe it's a done deal. And I think that's evident in the way that they completely disregard any pretense now about their corruption. I mean, their corruption is just now so out in the open that you know, they don't care. They don't believe they're ever going to be held accountable, ever. They think that the new world order is in, and that, you know, they can basically grab what they can while they can, and, you know, they don't believe they're ever going to be held accountable. So that's what we're dealing with on the political front. So, you know, I really think everyone out there needs to stop pretending and projecting your humanity upon these psychopaths, because they don't care. They just don't care. And the louder and louder you scream about how corrupt they are, you know, it's just a waste of time. So I think you just need to drop it. I think the reality that we're in here in Australia is that we're really at war, and I don't say that lightly. You know, we're at war for our own survival, and there's a lot of examples out there where that statement can be justified. If you have a look at the water situation here in Australia, where private dams and private water diversion systems have been put in place to deny our river systems their normal water run. This United Nations water trading scheme, where you've got corporates from overseas owning vast amounts of water and making huge profits off it, while our farmers are literally dying of thirst and shooting their cattle. You know, it's very clear that you know, we have a major issue around water. I mean, even recently, the Warragamba Dam in Sydney has had a caveat placed on it by the United Nations, where Sydney Water, the owners of Warragamba Dam and those charged from the public to manage that water system, can't raise the wall of the dam under an order or a caveat from the United Nations. So Sydney is itself, Australia's biggest city, is going to be grabbed by the throat when it comes to water. So it's not just the poor old farmers. Soon it's going to be right in the heart of Australia's biggest cities. There's other examples. I mean, west of where I am, a couple of hours west, at a town called Stanthorpe, which is a big fruit and vegetable growing area here in Queensland, Australia. It's a premier wine growing area as well. They have no water. The dams are now empty, all at the same time that a license has been given to a Chinese company to extract water out of the ground of about 100 million litres per annum. So while they're trucking in water and limiting the locals to 80 litres a day, a Chinese company is able to draw water by the millions of litres out of you know, what they call prime water source, and truck it down to the Gold Coast a couple of hours away and bottle it and sell it in China. There's also another example where we have another dam north of where I am, up in Bundaberg, a dam called Paradise Dam, I think the name of it is, where it was built at the public's expense of you know, several hundred millions of dollars, only to find, surprise, surprise, that there's some safety issue with the wall. And in November last year, they, the government here, the state Labor government, ALP government, released the water. They just let it all go out to sea, and that's prime irrigation water that goes to one of Queensland's richest food growing areas. So we're seeing numerous examples of water diversion, water wastage, and water ownership to foreign corporates, and thus denying our primary producers and ordinary Australians of their rights, all contrary to Section 100 of our Constitution, which says that they just cannot do that. So they're completely disregarding any laws that are in place. And we really are at war, and Australia now is totally lawless. The only laws that are being followed in Australia now is amongst those ordinary people like me and millions of people like myself, and all being done at the barrel of a gun or under the robe of a magistrate, an illegal magistrate. So that's the situation. Now soon, later on this year in 2020 and into 2021, we are going to see a big food shortages in Australia. Big food shortages. Our prime beef and cattle areas have been burnt out by these fires, and there's some serious questions arising out of all of this fire that's been happening here, and others in the alt media here have covered some of this ground. People like Max Egan, I know he's flipped out recently on other stuff, but I think the work that he's done on the Australian bushfires is pretty close to the mark. You know, and there's been many others that have pointed out. I mean, yes, Australia's always had bushfires, and you know, in my days, you know, in my trade union days, some of my members, I had, you know, a couple of hundred members that were forestry workers and bushfire workers. So I had a lot of experience, not directly fighting fires, but certainly as my union members going out and fighting those fires. Some of them, in fact, got awarded some pretty significant bravery medals for saving lives and so on. But yes, we've always had bushfires, but we've never had anything like this. Australia has been deliberately mismanaged, and to compound that, you know, with mismanaged in terms of fuel loads. And this is not an accident. This is not incompetence. This is deliberate. It's engineered. In addition to that, you know, Australia has also had its firefighting capabilities deliberately wound back, and that's compounded it. The country's then been dried out by these illegal diversions of water. I mean, if you've seen some of the footage of Cubby Station and what they're doing out in far west Queensland, it's just unbelievable. Growing cotton here in Australia, the driest continent in the world. You know, there's no way we should be growing cotton in this country. No need for it. So, you know, we've got some serious issues there coming up with food shortages. We're a lawless land, and now we are seeing the bankers, and I've already put up a previous upload about the Australia's corporate sector. A lot of our big corporate assets are now owned and controlled by the international bankers. And those international bankers are socially engineering us, and they're going to corner us. They are going to corner us. This is where it's heading. And they're deindustrialising in Australia. I mean, you know, that's what's going on. I mean, again, recent published reports in the Australian Financial Review, where the ANZ Bank, which has got the biggest exposure in our coal mining industry, followed by the National Bank and the Commonwealth Bank. Again, they're all owned by the international bank, you know, banking class criminals. These banks are withdrawing all funding progressively and quite sharply, all financing of and in the Australian coal mining industry. So we're going to see 50-odd thousand coal mining jobs, direct jobs, evaporate here in Australia. And of course Queensland is where most of the action happens on coal. We have a massive coal reserve in Queensland, and it's the best coal in the world. It's prime, hard, coking coal. This is what you make steel out of, and it's highly sought after around the world. So food shortages, our massive job losses, you know, a big tightening of our credit market in you know, within our industrial space. which means we're heading down into a third world country situation. So I just want to lay that out. We are at war. We really are at war, and I'm going to argue that we're in a war for our own survival. The next thing I want to lead on to is the issue of living in fear. Now, despite everything I've just said about what we're up against, and it truly is a big job in front of us, I don't think we should be living in fear here, okay? Now, I said earlier that this is a global conflict that's going on, a global conflict. Now, the tip of the spear where the real big global war is going down is in America, okay? Now, it's evident. It's evident. Now, President Donald Trump and the American patriots for the past 3 to 4 years have been in a head-on, full-on war over in America for control of their country, to take their country back, because like Australia, they had lost their sovereignty, and others can explain the history of all of that far better than I. But they've taken their country back, and they're in the process of dismantling all of the infrastructure, the vast criminal infrastructure that is upon America to once again liberate America so that it regains its sovereignty and its freedoms. Now, the banking criminal class is not going to go down easily over there, and they're going to fight this tooth and nail. The United Nations, the mainstream media, I've already touched upon that in a previous upload about just how dangerous those people are. I mean, they are just off the planet, off the planet. They need to be jailed by the dozens. By the dozens, and all of their infrastructure has to be taken out of play, because they are front and centre in the propaganda war, the misinformation war, and there's still a lot of people, a lot less nowadays, thankfully a lot less nowadays, but there's still a lot of people that are influenced by the propaganda and the misinformation that's put out by the mainstream media. Now, President Trump and the patriots in America are winning this war. They are winning this war, okay? And soon, when they really take the power structures down, it's going to affect Australia. Those control systems that control and were suffocating America are the same control systems that are suffocating us here in Australia, New Zealand, and in other parts of the world. And those control systems are going to come down, okay? So I want to strongly say to all my fellow Australians, stop living in fear. Stop living in fear. If you ask me, my frame of mind, I'm going to give it to you straight. Look, not only am I not living in fear, and I'm not saying that flippantly, because we need to be very careful. The criminal class, the banking criminal class, particularly the murdering Chinese communists who have infiltrated Australia in a major way, are very dangerous still, very dangerous, and we've got to be very careful how we go about our business here until we can get this under control. But I'm not living in fear. In fact, I'm telling you now, I'm so proud to be part of this generation, this, to be here and now, to be part of this war, and to be on the front line of this war, and to play my very small and humble part in the takedown of this criminal class. And I'm also very humbled by the dozens and dozens of other Australian patriots that I've met and have befriended, and who are fighting alongside of me, doing their small part, because together we're making a difference. You may not think it, but we are making a difference. So thank you to all of those people that that I've got to know. You know, we share a bond now, and I think all you guys, men and women out there, and some of them have come from all sorts of backgrounds. You know, me, you know, I come from the left. I'm an old communist. I was brought up under a communist doctrine. My trade union background, you know, from the left. Now I'm their sworn enemy. I'm their sworn enemy because there was two parts of that doctrine I never accepted. Never accepted. One was to destroy people of the Christian faith, and I never accepted that whatsoever. I had you know, hundreds of trade union members that were very strong Christians. I mentioned previously some of those firefighters who got bravery medals. I mean, some of those were, you know, very staunch Catholic Christian people, Italians and you know, others from other parts of the world. Australia's a high immigrant country, and I had a lot of union members that were people of the Christian faith. So I never, ever supported any of that doctrine. And the other doctrine that I never supported, coming through the communist trade union ranks, was Australia, the loss of Australia's sovereignty. There was no way in the world I was ever going to accept that. They were all internationalists, wobblies. We used to call them the, you know, one big world union. And Australia's sovereignty just meant nothing. Well, it means a lot to me, a hell of a lot to me. So I come from that background, and I'm their sworn enemy. I'm their sworn enemy now, mate, and I'm their living nightmare, because I'm never going to give up until I take these lunatics apart. They're psychopaths now. My Jesus, to any of my old left friends out there, my, you know, political left friends, and I do have some. I mean, you know, there's some very good people from within the left of politics and in the trade union movement. I mean, you know, what's happened to you guys? I mean, how the fuck can you guys support, you know, these pedophile transvestites reading stories to kids in libraries? I mean, seriously. I mean, where did the proletariat, the working class, go from defending workers' rights and winning them pay rises and protecting their jobs and protecting their industries and you know, all of those very fine goals and fine qualities? Where did it go to from those days to nowadays, where you've got the trade union movement and the Labor Party selling Australia's sovereignty out and shipping our jobs overseas, deindustrialising the country, you know, supporting these transvestite pedophiles? I'm serious. If they come near my kids, I'll take a baseball bat to them. I will take a baseball bat to them. I mean, what the hell are you thinking? You can't support this. You have to walk away. Seriously, guys. Seriously, I know there's a lot of good working class boys still out there. Let me tell you what the future is of the trade union movement. Your union. It's finished. It's gone. It's gone. They're never going to survive this, mate. Not only are they not going to win this war, right? They're not going to win it, mate. For them to have won this war and pulled it all off, they had to have had Hillary Clinton and all of the banking criminal class Democrat lunatics elected. And they lost it. Now you've got President Trump and the American patriots in power, and they're dismantling it. You had to, they had to, have the flagship, capture the flagship, which was America. And they lost it. So you're not going to win that war. It's going to take, you know, a few more years to clean it all up. But you are not going to win it. That's the first thing. The second thing is you've got the fourth industrial revolution upon us. The fourth industrial revolution. all of your jobs are going to evaporate. They're going to deindustrialise Australia. They're going to switch off all the coal. They're going to take away our power sources. I mean, the cost of electricity in this country is just going to go through the roof. No industry is going to stay in this country. And what industry is in this country are going to use robotics, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, etc., etc. It's all on the shelf, ready to go. You got me? You got me? There'll be no rural jobs because China will own all of our rural areas. You understand? That's what you're supporting. That's what you're supporting. So I'm just flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted that you've allowed the political left and the trade union left to sink to such a state. You're never going to survive it. You understand me? Your unions aren't going to survive this. The Australian Labor Party are finished. When we're through with them, they're finished, mate. They're gone. They won't survive this either. The Greens will be wiped off the face of the earth. They're communists, mate. They're Marxist. They're not conservationist. They're lunatic Marxists. They're going to be wiped off the face of the earth. They've only got 10 or 12% now anyway. But by the time we're through with them, mate, by the time Australia is through with them, they're going to wipe them out, mate. I'm serious. So, you know, you're fighting on a losing battle here, people. A losing battle to all my left friends. What the hell were you thinking? Walk away from it.
Now we're done with your tricks. Don't tread on us. Don't tread on us. We're not afraid. We're not afraid. You work for us. 'Cause you work for us. We're not your slaves.